Have you ever noticed something strange about certain happy moments? You're surrounded by people you like. Everyone is smiling. Someone tells a joke. The room feels warm and alive. But suddenly, something inside you feels a little different. You smile like everyone else. You laugh. But deep down, there's a quiet thought you can't fully explain. Why does this feel strange? Not bad, not sad, just unfamiliar. Almost like you're slightly outside the moment, watching it while everyone else is living it. If you've ever felt this way, you're not alone. And the strange part is, many people who experience this feeling never talk about it. Because when happiness feels unusual, the mind immediately jumps to one conclusion. Something must be wrong with me. But psychology suggests something much more interesting. For some people, happiness feels strange not because they dislike it, but because their mind learned to treat emotional moments very carefully. And that pattern usually begins much earlier than people realize. You can sometimes notice the first signs in small behaviors. For example, some people struggle to relax even during positive situations. A compliment feels nice, but part of their mind immediately questions it. Did they really mean that? Are they just being polite? Or imagine someone celebrating good news with friends. Everyone is excited, but inside their mind, something subtle happens. Instead of simply enjoying the moment, their attention shifts. They start observing. They notice the reactions of others. They analyze the atmosphere. They become aware of themselves inside the moment, almost like they're watching the scene unfold. And this observation can create a strange emotional distance. While others feel fully inside the happiness, they feel slightly outside it, participating, but also analyzing. To understand why this happens, we have to look at how the brain learns emotional safety. For many people, early emotional environments were unpredictable. Maybe good moments didn't last very long. Maybe happiness was followed by tension, or maybe positive emotions simply weren't expressed very often. When the brain grows up in environments like this, it adapts. It learns something subtle but powerful. It learns that emotional states can change quickly. So instead of relaxing completely into a positive moment, the mind stays alert, not anxious, just aware. It watches the room. It monitors reactions. It quietly asks a question in the background. How long will this last? You can see this pattern in the way some people respond to joyful situations. Someone might receive praise, but their mind immediately scans for hidden meaning. Someone might experience a peaceful moment, but part of them prepares for change, not because they want something to go wrong, but because their brain learned that emotional shifts are normal. Over time, this creates a very specific kind of awareness. A person becomes highly attentive to emotional signals. They notice tone changes, facial expressions, subtle shifts in energy between people. And here's where things become really interesting. This heightened awareness changes the way someone experiences happiness. Because happiness usually happens when the mind stops analyzing, when people relax, when they simply exist inside the moment. But reflective minds rarely stop observing. They remain slightly aware of everything happening around them, almost like an internal narrator quietly describing the scene. And that narrator creates distance, not emotional coldness, just observation. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Most people assume that feeling strange in happy moments means someone struggles with confidence. But the real reason often has nothing to do with confidence at all. It's about perception. People who feel this way often process emotions more deeply than average. Their minds don't just experience events, they interpret them, they examine them, they look for patterns. This means that even during joyful moments, their brain remains active. It's noticing the atmosphere, the social dynamics, the emotional tone of the environment. Instead of simply feeling happiness, they're also understanding it. And this creates a unique emotional experience. Because the more aware someone becomes of emotional patterns, the harder it becomes to fully disappear into them. They remain present, but also observant. And over time, this awareness can shape a person's identity. Someone might begin to think of themselves as the quiet observer, the one who notices things others miss, the one who reads the room, the one who understands the emotional dynamics of a situation. From the outside, these individuals often seem calm and thoughtful, but internally their mind is constantly interpreting what's happening. And that interpretation can make even happy moments feel slightly unfamiliar. Not uncomfortable, just different, like watching a beautiful scene while also thinking about how it was created. And once someone becomes aware of this pattern, something begins to shift. The strange feeling stops looking like a problem. It starts looking like a trait, a mind that developed a deep sensitivity to emotional environments, a mind that learned to observe before relaxing, a mind that understands the subtle layers of human interaction. And once you see that pattern clearly, something interesting happens. Those moments of strange happiness begin to make sense. They stop feeling random. They start feeling predictable because the experience was never about happiness being wrong. It was about awareness being strong. And once a person recognizes that, the moment changes. Instead of asking, why does this feel strange? They begin to understand what their mind is actually doing, watching, understanding, noticing the emotional landscape around them. And once you see that pattern, you begin to notice it everywhere. In conversations, in celebrations, in quiet moments of joy. Because sometimes the mind that feels strange in happy moments isn't disconnected from happiness. It's simply seeing more of the emotional world than most people realize. And once that awareness becomes clear, the experience of those moments begins to look very different. Because the feeling was never random. It was a pattern. And once you see the pattern, you can't really unsee it. If this explains something you've quietly noticed about yourself, there's always more beneath the surface. Because the way our minds learn to experience emotion often tells a deeper story than we expect.